Hey guys, King of Travis here. Today I'll be a judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today we have the top 3 ABB teams in the Halloween Cup. ABB is a very popular theme. For those of you that don't know, generally it's 1 mon of one type plus 2 mons of another type. So a good example is Watergrass, or in this case, what you will see is Dark Poison. Just because poison is so powerful in the Halloween Cup, that means double poison combinations in the back do really well. As I always say, please consider contributing to pvpoke.com. So if we go to top performers and we go all the way over here, and then you bring the drop down box and go to Halloween Cup, as you see here, ABB actually does really well. As you see, there are pretty good top teams being used with ABB, and they actually have really high usage ratings. For example, 3.2, 1.2, as well as 1.4. So that means a lot of people are using the ABB concept in order to climb in this league. So hopefully you're using it, or you like it a lot, and if you're using it, hopefully you find your team on these top teams. And without further ado, here's the top 3 ABB teams for the Halloween Cup in Season 9. Alright, so for team number 1, like I mentioned, the double poison archetype is strong. This features Umbreon lead, Nidoqueen to safe, and Toxicroak closes out. I really like Toxicroak. If you watch my Toxicroak team video, I love Toxicroak. It's really powerful, it's really strong, and my friend pointed it out to me. He's like, this thing's really good, so I'm using it as well. This does feature Umbreon in the lead. Again, Nidoqueen is a safe switch, and Toxicroak in the back. It's not a Shadow Nidoqueen, so it's a regular one. A for coverage, B for bulk, C for safety, and B for consistency. So at high grades overall, Umbreon and Nidoqueen does give you a pretty good coverage score of A. As you see here, Umbreon is a very thick and powerful lead, mostly there to catch the Ghost archetype. Umbreon is also able to beat a lot of the poison types just because of the fact it's so tanky. So as you see here, Umbreon has great matchups against like Golbat, etc. It also does very well against the Mirror Dark type. So if their Umbreon doesn't have Last Resort, it really sucks for your opponent. There are plenty of times where I've had my Umbreon against their Umbreon, and my Umbreon has Last Resort, and they don't. They have Foul Play Psychic, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. For this team, it features Foul Play and Last Resort just to give you that better matchup against the Dark-type Mirror. I mean Dark-type Mirror, if you face another Dark-type or another Umbreon, it works really well. And like I mentioned, because some Umbreons aren't actually using Last Resort, it might work in your favor. But Umbreon is very solid, and it's very powerful in this team. Your only big issue is going to be Azumarill. Azumarill with Play Rough is an absolute nightmare to play with this team. That's why you have double poison coverage. You lose the lead, say switch into Azu, or you can sack Umbreon the lead. It's really up to you. You will take tremendous damage for Play Rough, so I do recommend you just switch out. Dragalge versus Umbreon isn't too bad of a matchup. Umbreon is able to take a lot of damage from it. Just be very wary of the 2 shield, just because, as you see here, there's basically banks that you can eat both Aqua Tails. So if you do this, you can actually eat 2 Aqua... You can eat an Aqua Tail pretty convincingly. So why I'll usually throw if they throw their Dragalge out there, usually I'll just play it, because as you see here, you can eat a few Aqua Tails, you can eat a few damage. So as long as you don't eat the big move, which is the Outrage or the Gunk Shot, you should be okay. But other than that, this team is very powerful. A 620, unfortunately it's not 420. Pretty low threat score. Anything close to 600 is on the side, but if you do see Azu and Dragalge, you're gonna have to play a little hard to get out of that matchup. Nidoqueen and Toxicroak is able to take out Dragalge though, as well as Azu. Nidoqueen, you can beat Poison Fang it down. Toxicroak does have Sludge Bomb, and you also have Earthquake as well as Mud Bomb. So there are ways out of these 2 matchups. So if you're already playing Umbreon lead, or you're playing component of it, again, if you do see the Play Rough Azu, I would get out. Just go into Nidoqueen and then try to line up Azumarill. Try to line up Toxicroak with Azumarill, hopefully with no shield, and just try to nuke it with either Last Resort damage or Sludge Bomb it to death. So it's really up to you. Alright, for team number 2, we have, remember, let's talk about Dark Double Poison with Flying Flintstones Deathbird instead of, and 2 poison types. Yes, Shadow Nidoqueen's in here as well, but instead of a Toxicroak, you are using Golbat. So in a sense, you have like a double safe switch going on here. With, I would say, switch to what you feel like you're gonna face, but Golbat is essentially your best switch. Or, yeah, Golbat is able to beat a lot of combinations, which is why this team has great grades across the board. No A's, but B's are just fine, and B's are passing. And against the overall meta, this team does really well. I forgot to mention you are using Air Slash Mandibuzz for this team. And this just uses a regular Nidoqueen instead of a Shadow one. You're going to use the standard Poison Fang, Wing Attack, Shadow Ball moveset for Golbat. This team's really good, just because all three of these teams are super meta. And as you see here, Mandibuzz does go to town against a lot of combos in the lead. You're using Air Slash to give you that better matchup against other Dark types. Also, if you do happen to get like a Toxic in the lead, Air Slash Mandibuzz is great. So, Air Slash Mandy, not bad at all. As you see here, Mandibuzz does fall against Ice types, and that's why you're losing against Frostless and Ninetales. You will also lose against Charmers. Umbreon has a pretty good matchup against you in the 2 shields because you are using Air Slash. And unfortunately, Aerial Ace is a big booty move. It's literally one of the worst moves in the game damage-wise. The only reason that it's so viable is just because a lot of Pokemon that have high energy moves use it. And yeah, Mandibuzz has Sky Attack. Don't give it Sky. Please don't give Mandibuzz. It used to actually have Sky Attack, but then they switched it with Aerial Ace, and I can probably see why they did it. But please don't give it. Please, no Sky Attack for the Big Flintstones bird. It's good. It's already good. If you lose the lead with Mandibuzz, you could either sack the lead, or I recommend just switching into Golbat and then lining up in the back with Nidoqueen. Your opponent throws an Azu into you, you can win against Azu in the 2 shield with Golbat, just because Poison Fang does debuff, and it is super effective because Azu is a fairy. And Nidoqueen, of course, is just going to cause a whole lot of hell in general, because it is the queen, hopefully not. As I mentioned before, you probably heard this in the previous video, but, you know, Game of Thrones, yeah, Queen Daenerys didn't exactly have a happy ending. And we all hated that ending. If you like the ending, it's okay, I won't judge you, but still, God, it was such a bad ending. Anyways, hopefully it does not end, and your Go Battle League season's going pretty dang well right now. A lot of holes, and a pretty medium-high threat score. Anything over 650 is pretty much going over the hump, but this team is still very powerful. Statistically, it's performed at a whooping, let's see over here, it has performed in the top 6, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 5, actually. So, in the top 5, it actually ranked in the top 5. 543, really solid. And only 1 point below the Double Bug team I'm about to feature next. Alright, and the most powerful ABB team features a bunny, a bug, and a dong. Or trash. Absolute freaking trash. I just hate Wormadam because it's really good against my team. Have I beaten it losing lead against it? Abso-freaking-lutely. That doesn't mean I have to like it. And also an XL or a perfect would be ideal. So it's expensive, it's good, and it's annoying. But if you're using the dong, it is really good. This does feature Double Bug, Azu Double Bug. So you're using Scizor for the Night Slash capability, and I'm guessing what you're doing is you're using Scizor as your safe. That, or you're just going to let Azu die, and then you run over whatever's in the back with Scizor or Wormadam. Azu can still break a shield, or you could go to 2-1s, farm down whatever's left, and then have Wormadam Confusion down, and then close out with Scizor. Or there's a lot of ways you could play this team. Statistically, though, it does rank at 544, a lot higher than the other ones I've mentioned, and a lot of people are actually using it, so it's found a lot of good success. Pretty high rating, and it does stand as the top 4 team in the top performers list. This team has an F for safety. You will not be safe, but you will do a lot of damage. I'm guessing the way you play this team is what happens with Azu. If Azu gets a negative lead, you just bring it to the zeros, confusion down, and then hopefully Scizor and Wormadam can destroy your opponent. And you pray that they don't have a Mawile in the back. You pray, because if they have a Mawile in the back, it's basically an auto loss for you. B for coverage, B for bulk. Hopefully you get Mawile in the lead. But other than that, this team is very powerful. Azu, of course, is super meta. We all know that. Scizor and Wormadam, you have boost potential, and Wormadam trash the dong. It has a decent amount of energy. It can also debuff with Bug Buzz. This T1 is using Bug Buzz and Iron Head, and it can do a decent amount of damage over time, just because it has confusion. It does have low attack though, so that's why it's consistent for damage, just because of the fact that you can just spam a whole bunch of moves, etc. Not really in a sense, because Azu and Wormadam both have 3 and 4 turn moves respectively, so I'm not sure why is it A for coverage, or A for consistency. My opinion is more like a B. You lose the lead with Azu, you are essentially going to sacrifice it in the lead and try to farm down. That's the way I'm guessing you play Azu in the lead. Just because, like I mentioned, you don't really have a true safe switch, or your safe switch in the Scizor, pray you get the boost or something of that sort, and hopefully, like I mentioned, you pray you don't see a Mawile or an Alolan Marowak. You see either one of those two, you should probably top left, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to lose. This team does use the Azu with the Play Rough High Speed variation, so like I mentioned, it probably functions as I expected. You break shield or you try to win the matchup in the lead. If you get a negative match with Azu in lead, which is usually against poison types, you're probably going to go down a shield, or you're going to do enough damage to where you can, like I mentioned, farm down with your back row, and hopefully you can come out with a W with energy lead. Medium high threat score, despite the fact that you do have to be aware of Mawile and Alolan Marowak, but again, if you don't see any of those two, you can do very well in this meta with this team. And statistically, it's done really well. So with the fact that Mawile isn't, or Alolan Marowak isn't used that much anymore, it's doing really well in this meta right now. So if you're using it, it can climb. The other two are a little safer. I would say the poison type. Personally, I think the poison type, but like, you can't beat statistical performance. These teams will, whichever team you use, they will help you climb because they have very high ratings. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As you see here, ABB teams in the Halloween Cup are really freaking good, and you are using them, or you're using components to them, or they're doing really well for you in this cup. I'm actually using an AAB team, so yeah, it's kind of, well, not or like a BBA instead of an ABB, so whichever one you want to call it. So it's what it is. ABB is a popular theme throughout. Sometimes some ABB teams have been used in a sense of like throwing out a mon in order to draw out a certain mon, and then you farm down and then blow their brains out with 100 energy, basically. But as you see, double poison is very powerful. The team number 1, you can run it, but I'm not going to promise you're going to have a good time, especially if you have that AWAC or Mawile in the back. It's pretty much an auto loss for you, like I mentioned, so hopefully that doesn't happen to you if you're using it. But these teams can help you climb, like I mentioned. They're very powerful, and it's pretty good to see ABB teams come back and rise and make it into the top teams of PB Poke. So, with that being said, if you do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe. It's totally free. All you have to do is put your mouse over the bottom right. So you see that little sub tab right there, our sub box. Put your mouse over it, and bam, sub tab pops up. Really appreciate my current subscribers. Good luck on your Go Battle League set. If you're almost at Legend, you almost make it. If you're climbing Halloween Cup, just keep doing it because it's a pretty diverse meta. Not diverse in a sense, but a pretty easy meta to navigate, and hopefully these teams do help you out. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.